Your success is determined not by what you do at work, but by who you become. Most people have it backwards. They pour everything into their job while neglecting themselves. They work hard for their company, but forget to work on their mind, their skills, their character. I want to tell you something that changed my life when I finally understood it. Success is not about working harder at your job, it's about working harder on yourself. When you grow, everything around you grows too. I've watched thousands of people over the decades. The ones who struggle are always chasing the next promotion, the next position, the next paycheck. But the ones who thrive, they chase personal growth. They understand that their value in the marketplace is directly tied to their value as a person. Working harder on yourself than on your job is the difference between making a living and making a fortune, between existing and truly living, between settling for what comes and creating what you want. Most people spend more time planning their weekend than planning their life. They invest more in their car than in their mind. They watch hours of television, but can't find 10 minutes to read a book. Then they wonder why life isn't working out the way they hoped. I was once like that too. Working harder at my job, thinking that's what mattered most. I was wrong. Everything changed. When I realized that my income would rarely exceed my personal development, that's when I started investing in myself. And that's what I want to talk with you about today. Success isn't something you pursue, success is something you attract by the person you become, and becoming happens through deliberate self-improvement, through working harder on yourself than you do on anything else you might be thinking. That sounds nice, but my job demands everything from me right now. I understand, but here's what I've learned. When you make yourself valuable, the world makes you rich. When you solve your personal problems, you solve your financial problems. When you develop yourself, you develop your future. Let me share with you what happened in my own life. At age 25, I was broke, confused, and unhappy. I worked hard. That wasn't the problem. I showed up on time, did what was asked, stayed late when needed, but I was focused entirely on my job while neglecting myself. Then I met my mentor, Mr. Shove. He asked me a question that changed everything. Jim, how much better do you think you'll be doing 5 years from now? I answered confidently, much better. He then asked the question that woke me up. Why would you be doing better? I had no good answer. I was hoping things would get better. I was relying on hope as a strategy. Mr. Shoof taught me that hope is not a strategy. Wishing things would change is not a plan. He said, Jim, if you want things to change, you have to change. If you want things to get better, you have to get better. That hit me like a thunderbolt. For things to improve, I had to improve. For things to change, I had to change. Success wasn't going to come from working harder at my job. It would come from working harder on myself. So I started reading books. I started attending seminars. I began associating with different people. I changed my thinking, my vocabulary, my attitudes. I worked on my philosophy, my communication skills, my time management. Within 6 years, I went from broke to millionaire, not because I found a better job or worked more hours, but because I found a better me and became more valuable by transformation in my income followed the transformation in myself. This is what I want for you to understand, that the path to success lies not in your job, but in yourself. When you grow, your income grows. When you change your life, you see the marketplace pays for value, and value comes from ourselves. The more valuable you become, the more you can earn. It's that simple. Your income is directly proportional to your value. Most people think if I had a better job, I'd do better. That's backwards. If you were better, you'd have a better job. If you had more skills, more knowledge, better attitudes, you'd attract better opportunities. Think about it this way. Why does one person earn $50,000 0 cents while another earns $500 0 cents? Is one working 10 times harder? No. The difference is in the value they bring. And that value comes from who they are and what you might argue. But Jim, I know plenty of hardworking people who aren't successful. I agree. Hard work alone isn't enough. The key is working hard on the right things. And the most important thing to work on is yourself. The marketplace doesn't pay you for the hours you put in, it pays you for the value you bring in those hours. So the question isn't, how can I work more hours? The question is, how can I bring more value in the hours I work? And the answer to that question is personal development, becoming more skilled, more knowledgeable, more disciplined, more creative, more resourceful. Those qualities don't come from working harder at your job, they come from working harder on yourself. So what are the skills that increase your worth? What should you be developing in yourself? First, communication skills, your ability to express ideas, to persuade, to connect with others. This might be the most valuable skill you can develop. Study it, practice it, become exceptional at it. I've seen people with average intelligence, but excellent communication skills far outperform geniuses who couldn't convey their ideas. If you can communicate effectively, you can lead, sell, negotiate, teach, and influence. Those abilities are worth a fortune. Second, people skills, understanding human nature, building relationships, managing conflicts, creating rapport. These skills make you valuable in any organization, in any industry, at any time. Most people think technical skills are most important, but technical skills without people skills lead to limited success. People with outstanding people skills can always hire technical expertise. The reverse isn't always true. Third, specialize knowledge in your field. Whatever you do, become an expert at it. Know more about your area than anyone else. Read the books, take the courses, study the masters, but don't stop at what everyone else knows. Go beyond, develop unique insights, ask different questions, make unexpected connections. That's how you become irreplaceable. Fourth, problem-solving skills. Every advance in human history came from solving problems. Businesses pay for solutions, not activities. The better you are at solving problems, the more valuable you become. Train yourself to see problems as opportunities. Develop a systematic approach to finding solutions. Become known as the person who can figure things out when nobody else can. Fifth, productivity skills. Your ability to get things done. To focus, to manage time, to set priorities, to eliminate distractions. In today's world, attention is scattered. If you can maintain focus and produce results while others are busy being busy, you'll stand out. These skills, e-communication, people skills, specialized knowledge, problem solving, and productivity, they're worth the fortune in the marketplace, but they don't develop by accident. You must work on them deliberately. The good news is that all of these skills can be learned. You weren't born knowing how to communicate effectively or solve complex problems. These are acquired abilities. And if you can acquire them, you can increase your value. But here's the key. You must develop these skills consistently over time. Success doesn't come from occasional effort. It comes from small improvements accumulated day after day, year after year. I call this the compound effect. Just like compound interest can turn a small investment into a fortune over time, compound personal growth can turn an ordinary person into an extraordinary success. If you improve just one each day, after a year, you'll be 37 times better. That's the power of daily, consistent growth, not dramatic leaps, but steady progress in the right direction. Most people overestimate what they can do in a year and underestimate what they can accomplish in a decade. They want instant results, but lasting success doesn't work that way. It's built day by day through constant self-improvement. Think about it. If you read just 10 pages of a good book every day, that's 3,650 pages per year. That's about 15 books. In 5 years, you've read 75 books. How would your life be different if you had the knowledge from 75 carefully selected books in your field? If you spent just 30 minutes daily improving a key skill, that's 182 hours per year, how much better would you be at that skill with an extra 182 hours of practice? That's like taking a 4-week full-time training course every year. Small daily improvements lead to stunning long-term results, but you must be patient. You must trust the process. You must understand that today's efforts create tomorrow's rewards. Most people quit because they don't see immediate results. They work on themselves for a week or a month, see little change, and give up. What they don't realize is that results take time to show up, but when they do, they often come all at once, surprising everyone except those who understand the compound effect. So how do you create a personal development plan that actually works? Let me share what I've found effective over the years. First, assess where you are now. Be honest about your strengths and weaknesses. What skills do you already have? What areas need improvement? Where are the gaps between where you are and where you want to be? Second, set clear goals for your personal development. What specifically do you want to learn? What skills do you want to acquire? What kind of person do you want to become? Make these goals specific and measurable. Not I want to be a better communicator, but I want to be able to give a compelling 20-minute presentation without no's. Third, create a plan with specific activities where you read books, take courses, find a mentor, practice specific skills. The more specific your plan, the more likely you'll follow through. Don't say I'll read more. Say I'll read 20 pages every morning from 6:00 to 6:30 for building accountability. Tell someone about your plan. Report your progress regularly. Consider finding a partner who's also committed to personal growth. Fifth, review and adjust regularly every month. Assess what's working and what isn't. Personal development isn't static. It evolves as you. This systematic approach to personal growth is what separates the extraordinary from the ordinary. Anyone can work hard at a job. Few people work hard on themselves in a structured, consistent way. Now let me talk about one of the most powerful tools for personal development: reading. I've often said that all the answers to your questions are in some book somewhere. The information you need, the ideas that can change your life, they're waiting for you on a shelf. Reading is to the mind what exercise is to the body. It strengthens you, it expands you, it gives you new capabilities. The books you read today will shape the life you lead tomorrow. I'm not talking about reading for entertainment, though. There's nothing wrong with that. I'm talking about reading for growth, reading books that challenge you, that teach you new skills, that expand your thinking, that introduce you to new ideas. Some people say I'm not a reader. That's like saying I'm not an exerciser. You may not be now, but you can become one, and the benefits are enormous. If you read just 30 minutes a day, you'll be amazed at how quickly you can consume a book. Even 15 minutes daily adds up. The key is consistency. Start with books directly relevant to your goals. If you want to advance in your career, read about leadership, about your industry, about the skills needed in your field. If you want to improve your finances, read about investing, about money management, about wealth building. Don't just read the books. Apply what you learn. Take notes. Highlight key passages. Review them regularly. Discuss the ideas with others. Teaching what you've learned is one of the best ways to reinforce it beyond reading. Another crucial aspect of personal development is the company you keep. Your associations shape you in profound ways. As the saying goes, you are the average of the 5 people you spend the most time with. Look around at the people closest to you. Are they growing? Are they challenging themselves? Are they moving forward? Are they stagnant, complaining, making excuses? I'm not suggesting you abandon old friends, but I am suggesting you be intentional about seeking out growth-minded people. Find those who inspire you, who challenge you, who make you think bigger. Join groups focused on personal development. Attend seminars and workshops. Find mentors who are where you want to be. These associations will accelerate your growth in ways nothing else can. I still remember when I started associating with successful entrepreneurs, their thinking was different, their vocabulary was different, their expectations were different. Being around them changed me. I started thinking differently. That's the power of association. It changes you at a level deeper than mere information. It changes your standard, your beliefs, your identity. Now let's talk about something fundamental to personal development, taking responsibility. This might be the most important shift you can make in your thinking. As long as you blame others for your situation, you give away your power to change it. As long as you point to circumstances as the reason for your limitations, you remain limited. Taking responsibility means saying, this is my life, I created my current situation through my choices, and I can create a different future through different choices. This isn't about blame, it's about power. When you take responsibility, you take back your power to change things. I mean, so many people who say things like, I would be successful if my boss appreciated me more, or I would be in better shape if I had more time, or I would be financially secure if the economy were better. These statements might feel true, and they might even be partially true, but they're disempowering. They place the control outside yourself. Instead, ask empowering questions. How can I become so valuable that any boss would appreciate me? How can I reorganize my schedule to make health a priority? How can I build financial skills that work in any economy? Taking responsibility is liberating. It means your future isn't determined by your past, by other people, or by circumstances beyond your control. It's determined by you, by your choices, your actions, your growth. One area where personal development pays enormous dividends is financial literacy. Most people work hard for money, but never learn how money works. They earn a paycheck, but don't know how to make their money earn for them. Financial education isn't taught in most schools. You have to seek it yourself. Learn about investing, about assets and liabilities, about cash flow and capital gains, about tax strategies and retirement planning. Don't leave your financial future to chance or to the advice of someone who makes a commission when you follow their recommendations. Educate yourself, take courses, read books, talk to people who have achieved the financial results you want. The more you understand about money, the more you can make and keep financial ignorance. Ignorance is expensive. Financial knowledge pays dividends for life. I'm not saying money is everything, far from it, but financial stress affects everything else in your life, your health, your relationships, your peace of mind. By developing financial intelligence, you'll remove that stress and create more freedom to pursue what truly matters. Speaking of what matters, let's talk about health. Your body is the vehicle through which you experience life and create value. If that vehicle breaks down, nothing else matters much. Personal development must include physical development, taking care of your health, managing your energy, building your stamina. I'm not talking about becoming a fitness model or running marathons, though there's nothing wrong with those goals if they appeal to you. I'm talking about basic health habits that give you the energy to pursue your other goals. Regular exercise, proper nutrition, adequate sleep, stress management. These aren't luxuries, they're necessities for sustained success. Many people sacrifice health for wealth, only to spend their wealth trying to recover their health. That's poor strategy. Work on both simultaneously, they reinforce each other. When you exercise regularly, you have more energy for your work. When you eat well, you think more clearly. When you manage stress effectively, you make better decisions. Your physical habits affect your performance in every other area. Now let's discuss something that ties everything together. Time management. How you use your time determines everything else in your life. We all have the same 24 hours each day, but some people accomplish so much more than others in that time. The difference isn't intelligence or talent, it's choices about how to use time. Most people spend their time reactively. They respond to whatever demands their attention, emails, phone calls, other people's priorities. They're busy all day, but make little progress on what truly matters. Successful people spend their time proactively. They decide in advance what deserves their attention. They block out time for their most important activities, including personal development. They say no to distractions, even good ones that would take them off. Course time is your most precious resource. You can lose money and make it back. You can't lose time and get it back. Every minute vases is gone forever. So it'll be intentional about your time. Schedule your priorities instead of prioritizing your schedule. Make time for what matters most, including working on yourself. One powerful time management strategy is to rise early, the quiet morning hours before the world starts. Making demands on you can be your most productive time for personal growth. Plan, think, exercise. Establish a morning routine that sets you up for success. Another strategy is to eliminate or delegate low-value activities. Most people spend too much time on tasks that contribute little to their goals or their growth. Be ruthless about cutting these out. Focus on the vital few instead of the trivial many. Also learn to say no. Every yes to one thing is a no to something else. Choose your yeses carefully. Make sure they align with your goals and values. As we near the end of our time together, I want to talk about legacy, about the ultimate purpose of personal development. It's not just about achieving more or earning more, it's about becoming more so you can contribute more. The purpose of growing is giving. The purpose of learning is teaching. The purpose of achieving is when you work on yourself, developing your skills, expanding your knowledge, strengthening your character. You increase what you have to offer others. You increase your capacity to make a difference. Think about the people who've influenced you most positively. Chances are they were individuals who invested heavily in their own growth, who became more so they could give more. That's the ultimate reason to work harder on yourself than on your job. Your job is what you do. Your personal development determines who you are, and who you are determines the impact you'll have on everyone around you. Your growth creates a ripple effect. As you develop, you influence your family, your friends, your colleagues, your community. You set an example, you raise standards, you show what's possible. That's why personal development isn't selfish. It's one of the most selfless things you can do. Because you can't give what you don't have, you can't lead where you haven't gone, you can't teach what you don't know. By growing yourself, you qualify to help others grow. By developing yourself, you gain the ability to develop others, and that brings us full circle to where we started. Success isn't something you pursue, it's something you attract by the person you become, and becoming happens through deliberate self-improvement, through working harder on yourself than you do on anything else. The decisions you make today about your personal growth will determine who you are tomorrow, and who you are determines what you can do, have, share, and be. So I challenge you, make the decision today to work harder on yourself than on your job. Invest in your growth, develop your skills, expand your knowledge, strengthen your character. Start now, not next week, not when things slow down, not when the timing is better. The timing will never be perfect. The best time to start was years ago, but the second best time is right now. Begin with one small step. Read 10 pages, listen to 30 minutes of educational content, practice a skill for 15 minutes. Connect with someone who inspires growth. Take one action today that your future self will thank you for, then do it again tomorrow, and the next day and the day after that. Small actions consistently take and lead to massive results over time. Most people overestimate what they can do in a day and underestimate what they can do in a year. Don't let that be you. Trust the process. Give your personal growth the time it deserves. I've traveled around the world and met people from all walks of life. The happiest, most successful people I've met have one thing in common. They never stop growing. They never stop learning. They never stop developing themselves. Some of them started with nothing. Some faced tremendous obstacles, but they understood this fundamental truth. Your circumstances can limit your life, but they don't have to limit your growth. No matter where you are today, you can grow from there. No matter what you've experienced in the past, you can create a different future by creating a different you. Let me leave you with this final thought. You have untapped potential within you, capacity you haven't yet discovered, talents you haven't yet developed, wisdom you haven't yet applied. The greatest disservice you can do to yourself and to the world is to leave that potential untapped. Work harder on yourself than you do on your job, and watch as everything in your life transforms. That's not just my advice, that's my promise to you. I've seen it happen thousands of times, and I know it can happen for you too. The future belongs to those who prepare for it today, and the best way to prepare is to work on the most important project you'll ever of yourself. Let me tell you about two employees I once knew. Both started at the same company on the same day. Both had similar education, similar backgrounds, similar starting salaries. 5 years later, one was still in roughly the same position, making maybe 10 more than when he started. The other had been promoted 3 times and was earning 4 times his starting salary. What made the difference? It wasn't that one worked harder at his job, both put in their hours, both met their basic responsibilities. The difference was that the second employee worked harder on himself than on his job, while the first employee went home and watched TV. The second read books about leadership and communication, while the first complained about problems. The second developed problem-solving skills, while the first did what was required. The second constantly asked, how can I bring more value? The first employee waited for the company to develop him. The second took responsibility for his own development. The first focused on what he could get. The second focused on what he could become. Now, here's the key. The company didn't promote the second employee because they liked him better or because they were being generous. They promoted him because he became more valuable. He could solve problems the first employee couldn't solve. He could see opportunities the first employee couldn't see. He could lead in ways the first employee couldn't lead. That's the marketplace at work. It rewards value, and value comes from personal growth. Some of you might be thinking, but Jim, what about office politics? What about favoritism? What about all the unfair things that happen in companies? Yes, those things exist. The workplace isn't always fair. But here's what I found. When you become valuable enough, you transcend many of those limitations. When you bring enough value, people find ways to reward you. And if Warren Orient doesn't, another will. The beauty of working on yourself is that it makes you valuable everywhere, not just in your current job. The skills, knowledge, and attitudes you develop travel with you throughout your career. They compound over time. They open doors you can't currently see. I often meet people who feel stuck in their careers. They've reached what they think is their ceiling, but what they've really reached is the ceiling of their current development. It's not their job that's limiting them, it's their growth. When you stop growing, you start declining. There's no standing still in this life. You're either getting better or getting worse. Working on yourself ensures you're always moving forward. Remember, too, that your personal development affects more than just your career. It touches every area of your life. The discipline you develop, reading books, helps you maintain the discipline to exercise regularly. The communication skills that advance your career also improve your marriage. The problem-solving abilities that make you valuable at work make you a better parent, a better friend, a better citizen. Personal development is the ultimate investment because it pays dividends in every dimension of life. No other investment offers such comprehensive returns.